It was a daring nighttime rescue pulled off by the same Navy SEAL team that killed Osama bin Laden. Tuesday night, U.S. commandos slipped into a camp in Somalia and killed 9 captors and freed 2 hostages. Jessica Buchanan, a 32-year-old American, and Paul Hagen-Tisted, a 60-year-old from Denmark, were kidnapped back in the fall. They're reportedly in good condition, but here to discuss more about just how this mission was executed is retired Major Mike Lyons, our CBS News Military Analyst. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Betty.
This was quite an operation in the dead of night using helicopters. How did this go down?
Well, first of all, it was an airborne mission. It started out from the sky. They came in from the sky, probably about 20 Navy SEALs. There might have been some backup someplace. Came in and used the element of surprise where these people were held. Was probably not a very fortified area. They did a lot of research on it. They had been studying the place. They looked at satellite imagery photos, and they timed it just right. They went just before darkness, so they didn't go in the dead of the night, but they went just before darkness. It gave them some light to do the mission. But overall, I'm sure they had it well planned, well timed, and obviously they used the element of surprise to get these captives out.
How, you said satellite photos and all the technology. How do they know where these captors are and where the hostage? I mean, how do you play that out, one, in your mind, and two, execute it?
You know, Betty, we've developed an incredible competency since 1980, since Desert One, since that fiasco in the Iranian desert, till now, almost 30 years later, with this and performing these kinds of missions. And the technology was virtually real time. You had a battle captain, which was flying around the area, that's speaking to those folks on the ground while they were going through that area of operations, telling them exactly where everybody was. You know, almost like what you see on Hollywood, what you see on television right now. That kind of technology, that's for real, and that's what they're using right now.
Is this the new warfare, if you will?
Yeah, I think so. I think you know, there's something out today about less money for the conventional forces. You'll see money shift towards the special operators and those kinds of things in order to do these kinds of missions. You know, the president in particular was concerned about an American being held hostage. Now, whether or not this will deter the Somalis to do this in the future remains to be seen. But I think other countries will think twice about whether or not they're going to take an American and hold him hostage.
Well, back to this situation, why choose to do this on a Tuesday? I mean, was that part of the timing as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think the kind of practice and rehearsing that we've done down to these missions, we say, what's the best time to do it? You know, Betty, they plan to fail. And again, a lesson learned from 1980, they have so many things, they take so many factors into effect, and they make sure, and they said, you know, this was going to be the best time to come. They caught this group, as I'm told, they caught this group just as they were coming on it down from a narcotic called cat that the Somalis take in order to move their adrenaline and get it moving forward. So they caught them when they were napping in that regard as well.
That is amazing, just the detail that went into it. And what do you mean they plan to fail? Yeah,
planning to fail means they look at every single contingency and say, so if we do this operation, what happens here? And then if this doesn't work out, what's the backup? And that happens at every single step. And painstaking processes are put in place to make sure that they can always do something. Just like Osama bin Laden, the helicopter crashes, they blow the helicopter, they move on, they have other transport out. Same thing happened in this situation. We don't really know a lot of the details, but there's probably things that went wrong, but they were able to move on from them because they planned to fail.
And this happened, we saw Tuesday night in the President's State of the Union address. He was congratulating Defense Secretary Leon Panetta. Now, had this mission already been a success at that point?
Yeah, it looks like it was. It looked like that it had already been tied up at that point based on kind of the timing of the whole thing. But again, there's always this after-action report. The main thing the President was looking for was making sure no U.S. casualties, and the fact that they were able to get in there and kill 9 of the captives and come out with no casualties and take three kidnappers and then to the hostages. Again, the incredible competency of the special operators, the SEAL team, to do that.
That just seems mind-boggling. You know, you have these 9 captors, then you have these hostages somewhere there, but you had no casualties on the part of the SEAL team.
You know, Betty, it's a new kind of warfare. Back in the 80s and 90s, we built this conventional force that I felt was no match. I felt like in Desert Storm it was no match. We saw in Iraq the conventional force was no match. That's what we have right now with our special forces and our SEAL teams and our Delta teams. It's no match. When they decide that they're going to do the level of planning required, look at the maps, understand what's going on the ground, it's no match for any enemy on the ground right now.
The White House did release a photo of the President calling Jessica Buchanan's father to say that she was actually found, she's alive, she has been freed. What are you hearing about that conversation and her father and how her family was notified of this?
Yeah, they were very, very happy and very concerned at making sure that, again, that there was no American casualties on their side. You know, the fact that a president can call a family and a father like that is just, again, once again, a reinforcement. He's the commander-in-chief. He's not going to be Jimmy Carter. He's not going to perform these kinds of missions and fail at them. He's going to make sure that the military can step up and do these kinds of missions.
I think we're all glad it was a success.
Yeah.
Mike Lyons, thanks so much for your insight.
Thanks, Betty.
Very, very interesting. We do appreciate it.